Welcome to
Stays Crunchy and Milk.
If you have questions or comments, we have multiple ways to be reached. Twitter is, of course, the best way for those who need instant gratification. The show's Twitter feed is @SkimPod, SKIMPOD.
Stays Crunchy.
If you want to hear yourself on the show, why not leave us a voicemail? 216-302-8763. That's 216-302-8POD.
Stays
For the
Crunchy.
more patient amongst you, the email address for the show is podcast@stayscrunchyandmilk.com. Crunchy again being spelled with a K. We're available via Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, Spotify, and of course at the website stayscrunchyandmilk.com. Please rate, review, subscribe, and share the show wherever you can.
Stays Crunchy.
And if the pockets is feeling extra chunky, you can put in on this and support our Patreon. It's available at patreon.com/stayscrunchyandmilk. And if you donate at the $5 or higher level, you get an entire extra show each month with even more content coming soon.
Stays Crunchy.
Our personal Twitters are Tatum216, Lunchbox2099, The Real ODP, and I'm your host, the Internet's Tayrail713. Me and my family moved into our apartment complex. A gate with a serial code was put up next. They claim that this community is so drug-free, but it don't look that way to me, cause I can see the young bloods hanging out at the store. 24/7 junkies looking for a hit of that blow. It's powerful. Oh, you know what else they trying to do? Make a curfew especially for me and you, the traces of the new world order. Times is getting shorter. If we don't be prepared, people, it's gonna be a slaughter. My mind won't allow me to not be curious. My folk don't understand, so they don't take it serious. But every now and then, I wonder if the gate was put up to keep crime out or keep our ass in. Who's that peeping in my window? Pow. Nobody now. What's good, my folk? Stays Crunchy and Milk. It's episode 355. And I ain't got no Tatum to share with you this week. I'm sorry. The man had to take a day. But, now, I see, by the time you hear this, his birthday will have passed. But ain't nothing wrong, in my opinion, with giving some belated birthday wishes. So when you hear this, shout out my homeboy and tell him happy birthday. Hopefully I would have done so already, you know what I'm saying? But I am joined by the man who was tearing down statues and tossing them before that shit was cool. It's the homie Lunchbox.
Yeah, but they were all Pee Wee softball trophies.
We also have the last of the Golden Coquis, the suburban Puerto Rican, the real ODP. It's my homie Gabe.
Yes, I am here without anything clever to say.
Don't worry, I got plans here. We about to hit the ground running. It's been very interesting to me. Something I've been noticing, and maybe y'all can put in on this. How? So we've spoken about this for real before. How that under Corona, all the things we've changed because of Corona, and the reality of it is maybe we should have been doing that this whole damn time. You know, maybe we should have been washing our hands for, you know what I'm saying, a reasonable amount of time. I know I was. I know you were, Gabe. I know Box does too. But the world, the royal we, maybe we all should have been washing our hands. Maybe we should all been socially distancing. Maybe we should have been rocking masks this whole damn time. Maybe we all should have been working from home if possible this whole damn time. So forth and so on. You get my drift here. The change that comes with things. But what we've been getting this week, and probably since late last week, has been the changes based on race. So I'm going to run through several things that have occurred here that I think is just wild. And I would like you all to chime in and tell me what you think. This first one, Box, you'll have more, I would think you'd have more insight into, but depictions of racism in Magic the Gathering are being removed. Today we'll be changing the multiverse ID and removing the Gathering card image for the card. And let's run down a list of these cards that they're getting rid of. Invoke Prejudice. Cleanse. Stone Throwing Devils. Prodish Gypsies. Jihad. Imprison. And Crusade. Now, most of those already sound like, man, word? But then you see pictures of them motherfuckers and it's like, oh, that shit was racist.
I need a visual.
A couple of those I understand. A couple of them I'm not so sure I understand.
Well, here I'm going to grab you
Because
this.
I know a good portion of the cards you just named. Because for those listening, I haven't played Magic the Gathering in like 6 years now. But I used to be pretty good back in the day. I played for a long time. So like a lot of the cards, like I know a couple of the ones you named are older, like from the early '90s.
Yeah. Yes.
So like I do know what they do, and the problem with some of those cards is though, like the artwork, like they'll reprint them in other sets and they'll use different artwork. So like I might not remember necessarily the artwork of what's in the article, perhaps, but
Click that link right there I just sent you.
all right.
Take a look at some of these. It's in the chat. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna have to describe it for the audience.
For
Invoke Prejudice.
the record, too, for those listening, I have known people who worked at this company on Magic the Gathering cards personally. So that's how deep it goes. Okay, so yeah, this Invoke Prejudice, they definitely look like KKK members.
They do look like medieval KKK members with axes.
Yeah, this card was never really used while I was playing. So, like, that's probably part of why I didn't really know it existed. Because this is an older card. This is from 1994. So, like, a lot of those older cards, they didn't really hold up as far as the gameplay was concerned over the years. But, yeah, I can see why they would remove the image on that one. Stone Throwing Devils. This looks like it's from Arabian Nights, which is, like, the first expansion into the game. I mean, the card would never be played now outside of, like, you know, the 10-cent bin, but Stone Throwing Devils, I'm gonna be honest, like, to me it just seems like demons throwing stones. Like, I don't understand unless they're trying to not be religious, but
Well, I don't know. I guess they could be. They could look like how the Jewish people were depicted by Nazi propaganda, if you want to stretch that way.
yeah, I mean, that one to me, like, I mean, I don't really see much wrong with that one, I guess, but, you know.
Check the next one
Cleanse.
out. Cleanse.
Okay. This one I'm slightly familiar with.
Oh. I was looking at the description.
Yeah, the description is what the banger is.
All black creatures in play are destroyed. Sounds like Laura Ingram's dream.
For context, the game has 5 base colors. One of the colors is black. It's white, black, blue, green, and red. Those are the 5 base colors in the game. So it works, and it's kind of like shaped like a pentagon, where like there's a tip, and so like each color has 2 friendly colors like that sit next to it, and then it has 2 enemy colors that are across the chart from itself. Black and white in the game, oddly enough, are enemy colors. So
You don't say.
so they have a lot of cards against each other. So like I believe there's a black card that destroys white creatures, like similar to this. Jihad, I understand.
I mean, it looks like old school Moorish warriors.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess if someone wants to think that the dude with the helmet on is a KKK guy, but I don't know, man. Like, I mean, it's kind of a dated thing because it came out in like '93, but I don't really see the issue per se. Crusade. All right, so the Crusade, the Gypsies, those two, I knew what they were. The Gypsies one always was kind of weird to me. Even like, so when I first got into the game, was like high school. But when I was little, one of my dad's friends had come around to visit a couple times. And one time he was over, he gave me 2 Magic the Gathering cards. Like they were junk comments, but I was a kid, I didn't know any better. And one of them was that Gypsies card. And when I got older and like I kind of learned about the whole history of the way, you know, the gypsy life and the slang terms and the way people looked at them and everything, I was always kind of like, I don't know if this one was necessary. Crusade probably could have used better artwork back then. But the card itself, as far as being in the game, no problem. In prison, pay 1 each time target creature attempts to attack, block, or tap. That action is prevented and the creature becomes tapped. Destroy enchantment is not paid.
I think on that one it's the art.
It's the art on that one. Yeah, it looks
I
like
guess blackface is what they're going for there.
Well, no, it looks like an imprisoned black person. You know? Yeah, so.
I guess, like, I looked at it and I thought it was like a flayed man, but yeah, I guess I could see that. It reminded me of the flayed man from Game of Thrones.
I'm just Wizards of the Coast seems to think it need to be taken
I could see it like if it's black, like they're going for blackface. I guess.
Yeah.
The card itself, like the text or nothing, I don't see anything wrong with that. But yeah, I mean the artwork, I guess, sure. I'm not gonna pound the table for that.
No worries. All right. So we checked that one off the list. The things that look, probably should have been happening. Those are all from, most of those cards are from '94. It's kind of like probably the very way you guys play Magic, not you guys per se, but the very way people play Magic now probably doesn't involve those cards at all, unless somebody got some old school. Like I like to play, '94 original or whatever. You know what I'm saying? There probably is somebody.
Well, here's the thing: there is a format that would use cards that were from this time. It's called Legacy.
Okay.
So Legacy goes all the way back to the beginning of the game. So that Crusade card does see play in some style decks, and like I said, that card's been reprinted, so it's in later sets. And then that Cleanse card, I could see being used in sideboards. Essentially, you have a 60 card main deck. You play a best of 3 series generally, and after the first game, you have the opportunity to swap cards from your deck to your sideboard. You have a 15 card sideboard. That's the kind of card where I could see it seeing niche play in sideboards, depending on what the format looks like. To say you're up against an opponent who plays all mono black control and they have black creatures. If you expect a long game before mana cost sorcery, destroy all black creatures, that's a strong play. If you feel like you're, realistically, competitive Magic's not going to see that card played, but a lot of casual table, in your dining room type people would play that card.
Okay. Well, there you go. That those cards, no more, but in reality will exist forever because people keep these things forever. Come on.
Yeah, these cards are all printed. It's not like you can remove them from circulation. All they're doing is removing them from their online client.
Yeah.
People will be saying that you'll take my cards from my cold dead hand.
That they're probably not going to allow people to play it in competitive, right?
See, that's the thing. I don't think you can just ban the cards because you don't like the artwork.
I would. Well, here's
realistic. Here's what I would say. Based on my skill level at the game and what I know for competitive play, this first one, Invoke Prejudice, would never be used in a tournament. Stone Throwing Devils, never used in a tournament. Cleanse, highly unlikely to be used. Could maybe at some point, but highly unlikely. Jihad, never going to be used. Crusade, could be. Gypsies, never. Imprison, never. So you only really have a shot of 2 of these ever actually seeing constructed play in a tournament again, based on their card quality, not the inherent racism or perceived issue with the artwork.
Well, going forward, it says, we have removed this card image from our database due to its racist depiction, text, or combination thereof. Racism in any form is unacceptable and has no place in our games nor anywhere else. Additionally, these cards will be banned in all sanctioned tournament play.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, so those bad boys are out. Next up, which, like I said, things that probably maybe should have been happened. NASCAR made this statement. The presence of the Confederate flag at NASCAR events runs contrary to our commitment to providing a welcome and inclusive environment for all fans, our competitors, and our industry. Bringing people together around a love of racing and the community that it creates is what makes our fans and sport special. The display of the Confederate flag will be prohibited from all NASCAR events and properties. Real simple statement. real clean statement. And I
bet it was met with so much joy and
you know what?
acceptance.
Actually, many people did celebrate it, and that was interesting. With an exception that was trending on Twitter, so I want to bring this gentleman to the forefront. You know what? Actually, I didn't keep his name, but I will tell you what he said. This 50-year-old NASCAR Truck Series driver with a 0-31 record and 1 top 10 finish says he will not be returning to NASCAR after the end of this season because of this ban. And I had to laugh because, of course, that loser would choose the loser's flag to be something he wanted to represent or ride for. And it just made me happy and made me just chuckle. And I was like, yeah, that is perfect. I want to get this motherfucker's name. It's Robert something or other.
Lee.
Yeah, I guess if I go under sports, it'll probably be underneath there. Let's see if this guy's name pops. Nah, man, he didn't. His trend was only for so long, and most of it was probably just people clowning him. So it is all good. If I type in Robert, I think that was his first name. Let's see what.
So
comes up.
While you're doing that, I was doing something a second ago that I usually scold people for doing, but I was reading the comments on that article where you shared for the Magic the Gathering cards. And
yeah,
I took a peek at him too.
One of the people in the comments said the guy who wrote the Invoke Prejudice card, the one with the Nazi the KKK looking hooded guys with the axes. He said the artist behind Invoke Prejudice is an actual, no exaggeration, eugenicist.
Eugenicist, yes.
So I had to Google that word because I didn't even know what it meant. And then I looked up the artist, and an article came up in the Tampa Dispatch, which is talking about the artwork on that card in relation. Like it came up in the last day for what what we're going over. And in the article it says, to make matters more inflammatory, the card number is 1488. A figure significant to Nazis and white supremacists, which art by Harold McNeil is known for his references to Nazi imagery.
Oh, so that was a well done bit of racism, is what you're saying. You had to dig deep on that one.
Racism with Easter eggs.
Racism, yeah, that'll do, pig. That'll do. Oh, man. The gentleman's name who is quitting NASCAR after, again, an 0-31 record, 0-32 record, is Ray, forgive me, not Robert, Ray Ciccarelli. And
he's Italian. I don't know if that makes a difference.
I mean, that's an assumption on your part, just because that last name seems Italian. We don't know that. And so we keep it moving.
Yeah, he could be black, man. Look at you over here being presumptive.
Oh, he ain't black.
Also, he can't be black.
Didn't say he can't.
Could be
Kanye wanted
could be
to buy
adopted
the
for all you
Confederate
know.
Well, also they went and found other tweets and Facebook posts from this man, and he one of those racists.
No.
So
can we have an example, sir?
He's like Clayton Bigsby.
Get him.
He had a picture that I can't dig up right now because I'm not even to be bothered. I'm not gonna get this man this much time on my fucking show. But it was cops kneeling on a white man's neck, and he said, "I don't see nobody protesting for this." And I was just like, "Oh, you loser, who's just a loser who supports a loser flag. Eat a fucking dick."
I assume if they're protesting police brutality, they're protesting police brutality against white people as well.
It's all good. This is the band Lady Antebellum.
What?
Is changing their name to Lady A and apologize for using a name associated with slavery in America. We are deeply sorry, is their response, is what they're saying. We're regretful and embarrassed to say that we did not take into account the associations that weigh down the word referring to the period of history before the Civil War which includes slavery. We are deeply sorry for this hurt this has caused and for anyone who has felt unsafe, unseen, or unvalued.
I gotta say, I didn't even notice that one.
Doesn't that feel kind of like a cop out? I mean, I don't. I'm having to look up the history behind Antebellum right now. I know the band.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard of the band too. I didn't make the association.
Occurring or existing before a particular war, especially what the hell? It doesn't say what it means.
All right.
It means
antebellum
before
period
the war, but wasn't widely associated with the U.S. Civil War until after the conflict was over. The word comes from the Latin phrase antebellum, literally before the war. Okay, you're gonna have to walk me through this one. Why is this bad?
The antebellum South, which was referred to, of course, after the war. Again, the losers seem to write the fucking history for this particular war. I have no idea why. Referring to the time before the Civil War when we could all own slaves and be cool.
It's like an ode to better times or something.
Yeah, it's kind of that situation.
So this is one of those ones where you had to be down there to understand it.
Oh, those who understood it understood.
Oh, okay. So you had to be black to understand. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's actually for white folk, and that's for white folk of a certain ilk.
Oh, okay.
So, like I said, if you know, you know.
So I guess then, like them saying they're now called Lady A, isn't that just like white people saying like I can't say that word, so I say the N word?
Bruh, it's like saying shoot instead of shit. We all know what you meant, bruh.
Well,
I would tell you maybe you need a better name all the way through and through.
They have some bangers though, man. The problem with them is one of their songs will forever be tied to an X for me. So it's like I hear that and it's like a trigger. But I'm not gonna deny the fact that those songs slap.
all right. What about all right? Let's quick brainstorm. What's some alternative names for Lady Antebellum? Because I agree. Going Lady A is really a cop out. I mean, what's the A stand for?
How about Madam
Except
Bell?
for that could be one.
Just lady.
Nah, that feels basic.
Yeah.
Lady Belichick, after one of the great all-time NFL coaches.
Oh, the greatest cheater in the game, I guess.
Hey, he's won more than the South.
Maybe they should just change their name to Before War.
But yeah, but they don't want that association. That's what it comes down to. That right there, that one was a bit of a that was a random pitch right there. I was like, really? I guess.
Were people
Right on.
upset?
Yeah,
Like I said, I
gotta tell you,
notice.
I've never ever not once in my life heard somebody say. In fact, I know people who fuck with them. So,
I mean, like 45 of the states reading that article didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. They could have kept that name and then like toured the Midwest and like the West Coast, and everyone would have been cool with it.
So does this mean the Dixie Chicks got to stop being the Dixie Chicks?
No, because the Dixie Chicks already kind of wrecked their shop. You know what I'm saying? When they said fuck George W. So they can just be what they gonna be. You know what I'm saying?
I guess the D Chicks wouldn't work either.
Next up, NFL commissioner says the league was wrong to not listen to players about racism. Now, this one I laughed my ass off at because of a couple of reasons. One, not once did they mention Colin Kaepernick. Still ain't mentioned Colin Kaepernick. They need to mention Colin Kaepernick for me to even believe this shit. Two, it took a large group of black players saying, "Hey, man, I need this out of you."
That ain't even why they did
One
it.
of them was my boy Patrick Mahomes. And let me tell you something. He the future of this operation, and they know it. And him saying, "Oh, I'm a black man, don't ever get it twisted."
Yeah, they were like, we gotta kiss those mixed cheeks.
So, but they still got a squad called the fucking Redskins. And until that shit is fixed, you ain't fixed shit. And until, like I said, until you say Colin Kaepernick's motherfucking name, we were wrong to not listen to Colin Kaepernick and those who knelt with him. Was that Ed Reed who knelt with him? Was one of the ones.
Eric Reed.
Eric Reed, forgive me. And so Like I said, till you say their name, Commish, I'm just not really believing you, dog. But I get to know Patrick Mahomes hold that kind of weight right now. He got that juice, and I hope he uses it for good. So that's what's up with that one. This one has been a delight. Confederate and Columbus statues getting snatched up throughout America, but then we spread it out to the world to one Edward Colston, who was a Bristol slave trader. And y'all all probably seen the video of this one. They snatched that motherfucking statue up and threw it in the goddamn in a lake or pond or some shit.
So then it's not going to a museum. Like everyone's saying, a lot of people are saying these statues are going to tear them down. They should send them to a museum. How are we going to know about history? I love the whole how are we going to remember history without the statues thing. Like that is fucking stupid, and you know it.
Well, they did collect that one out the water at some point. I think today or yesterday. So and I guess they'll store it wherever they're going to store it at. But another statue, statue of UK slave trader fished from harbor amid backlash over another of the Scouts founder. Now this one I had, oddly enough, I had this article but did not have the context until I visited Gabe's house earlier, and his wife was like, "Did you hear about this one?" The founder of the Scouts, the Boy Scouts, had his statue removed because, as it turns out, he was a homophobe or racist and a fascist sympathizer who got down with Hitler and Benito Mussolini. So, fuck that dude. And,
at least he didn't make it ambiguous. Like, should we take the statue down? Shouldn't we? You had to. It's hard to argue when you're a Hitler and Mussolini sympathizer.
Let me ask a hypothetical. What if if we went back in history and there was let's say there was a multiverse, right? And that man exists in another world, but he's not any of those things. But that means that the Boy Scouts never exist.
Yeah.
Is that a world that we're okay with? Like, there's a little bit of hate, but creates an organization that some people find valuable. Is the trade-off okay there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I truly, somebody else would have invented something similar to it. He didn't invent. What did he invent, bro? It's like
he invented dudes hanging out on the weekends doing bro shit.
Trust me. I think somebody else would have figured it out. That Edward Colston, I want you to understand. Slave trader doesn't give it away. That man went to Africa, stole 80,000 men, women, and children from Africa to take over to America, to the Americas, forgive me. 20,000 of which died on the journey back. He didn't deserve a statue to begin with. So fuck that dude. For real. There's another guy. There's another.
So there's a mass murderer at that point. We got a statue of a mass murderer.
Correct. And again, why are we putting statues of mass murderers up to begin with, except for racism? There's one in, I believe, Belgium that got snatched down, and that one was, again, he was a slaver, and can't be doing that. Now, what was interesting about this next story was a Republican-led, board or whatever in the Senate agreed that we need to change the names of Army bases that still have Confederate names on them. Because again, why are you naming your fucking bases after losers? Is beyond me.
And traitors.
Yeah, traitors and losers. But a traitor and a loser in the White House decided that he was not cool with those names being changed, so he shot that ideal down.
He's got to keep the base happy.
But it has indeed been agreed to in the Senate, which is weird because, like I said, they don't agree to anything in these day and age, but they have agreed to it at this point, and so that maybe could happen down the line, and so that is what's up. What else happened? Here, I want to get you this Belgian King Leopold. Let me click that one. I want to read that one. I had the link in my notes, but I didn't have the link open. King Leopold II statues are being removed all over Belgium, and he was, again, one of the people who just exploited Africa. You know what I'm saying? Just just was taking, taking people and taking stuff and fucking it up because that's what colonialists and imperialists did. So that's so again, fuck that dude. These that's really cool. But here's the last two of my long list here that I was like, yeah, that happened. Is both Cops and Live PD have been canceled. Cops by Paramount and Live PD by A&E. And the Live PD one in particular has a bit of a bite to it because they had filmed what basically the cops killing a man, but then they just got rid of the tape. And they say they feel bad that they got rid of the tape. That is basically proof that these cops killed a man. And they wish they would have had it because it could have showed both sides of policing.
No.
And that show's been canceled, and I wouldn't doubt if you'd see the host of that show up on Fox News sometime in the very near future as a commentator of some sorts. But yes, Cops and Live PD, no more. Because they have been for years showing people, in particular people of color, black and people of color, in a bad light, is what was said about Cops. Cops cancellation. Live PD, I think they just know they was caught out there when they had tapes of murder and decided we don't need to show that part. So
I feel bad. Who I feel bad for in this is the band that was probably getting paychecks off of the Bad Boys song on a weekly basis. Oh, what was their name?
I know their word name. Oh, come on, bro.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Damn.
I'm gonna just look it up. Bad Boys Reggae. Inner Circle.
Inner Circle. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? So, man, and like again, that show was on for like I believe 33 years. They did okay. So respect due to Inner Circle for making a couple of shekels, couple of ducats. The story I truly wish Ant was here for, that I feel like it rocked my world, and I'm not saying it didn't rock Ant and Box's world, but I mean, you know what I'm saying, all the stuff going on in the Bon Appetit world of Condé Nasty. Condé Nasty produces a bunch of magazines and so forth, and the one lady who we refer to as Ant's girl, you know what I'm saying, because that's his favorite of Chef in the Kitchen, Sola, made a statement on Instagram that basically is like, let me lay some shit out here for you. Oh, it started with this. Bon Appetit's editor-in-chief, his EIC, Adam Rappaport, a picture of him showed up in what can only be described as brownface. He was dressed up in his apparently as a Puerto Rican, a traditional New York Puerto Rican. When Sola saw this, she was like, "Okay, let's put it all on the grill." I did not mean that play on words, but there we go. I guess it was meant to be. And said he should resign because brownface is clearly racist. But let me lay a couple of other racist situations out here for you. I was hired at this amount of money to do this thing. I have. She was supposed to be an associate editor, and was hired at a particular rate. Sola shows up in videos all the time. Hugely popular. Everyone loves her. Super knowledgeable. Is just an amazing chef who probably needs several cookbooks under her belt because she's so good at what she does. And turns out her and all the people of color in these videos, Gabby, who's Argentinian, but she brown. Che, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but still Asian lady. Sola, who's a brown lady, and so forth. They had also had a black woman whose videos they only showed during Black History Month, so they did not bring her back for more. None of them are paid for their videos, but the white people are, and so most of the everybody stood up against this. They all came to speak out against this, and all have made really strong statements about the situation. And former now EIC Adam Rappaport, he resigned, saying he needed to learn some things, and clearly he was fucking up and so forth. But then the head of video at Condé Nast also resigned. His Matt somebody or other, he resigned as well, because again, racism and racist. And what like I said, why I say this rocked my world is I really, really, really have enjoyed Bon Appetit's YouTube channel for a couple of years now. I've been watching Gourmet Makes for some time now. I enjoy Claire Saffitz. I enjoy Brad Leon's of Is It Alive or whatever, Make It Alive or whatever. I enjoy their programming on YouTube, and it's been so nice. It's been so their at home of production has been so soothing. It's been such good stuff to watch, and to have it turn out that some of my favorite people on there aren't being paid at all. Some of their smartest and most interesting people are just said again that you see these people, you're like, wow, this is such a diverse and interesting workplace, and it turns out, well, no, those people aren't getting paid. They're here to make us look diverse, but we aren't truly diverse. We don't pay them well, and we don't pay them at all for their performances or their work in our videos. And I just it kind of fucked it up for me, man. And again, they hadn't put out a video now for a few, probably since last week or something like that. And who knows, until they get new people in to run the show, maybe they won't be. But damn, man, don't ruin the good things. I guess what it is, I guess all good things gotta suck. But I mean, I would hate if I found out Red Link was some shitty dudes, it would really fuck my head up. And that's kind of like what happened here. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy this work. I enjoy this. It makes the stuffy old magazine like Bon Appetit seem almost accessible. And then you see people like, you know what I'm saying, who kind of look like you, and you're like, yeah, man, that means maybe in this world I could, rise to the ranks of a Bon Appetit test kitchen chef and make stuff and write for the magazine and so forth. And it's just lies. And then that really hurts my feelings. And then Condé Nast made a statement that was like, no, we pay all these people of color. What you talking about? But then other people of color came out and said, no, you ain't paid me. And so like,
wow,
yeah. So you just lied, and it's that combined with a lot of people have been coming out the mouth. I don't know if y'all saw this trend of people discussing their salaries and why they've been discussing their salaries is to say how dreadful the disparity is between races and sexes and so forth. And so, like I said, all this happening at once goes back to the original topic at hand. All the shit should have probably been happening, and I'm kind of okay again. Then this flips back to last week. Maybe 2020 is just that. Maybe this is the year of great and dramatic change, but it comes a different way than expected. It does not come with everybody got raises and everybody eating good. It comes with people dying and people being killed and people being used poorly, but then not just keeping it hidden anymore. They're saying, I have been used and abused and I'm not taking that shit no more, and we need to do something about it, and things happening about it. And so I'm both sad that this shit has gone down a Bon Appetit, but I'm very excited about the potential for change to come to that particular space. You know what I'm saying? For these people to all to be paid and be paid handsomely, they deserve to be paid handsomely. They entertain millions. Their videos do millions of views. You know what I'm saying? So that's no joke. They do big fucking boppo numbers, and they should be compensated therefore. You know what I'm saying? And so I am hopeful that will be the change needed in that regard, in that particular situation. And I'm hoping people talking about how much they get paid in relation to other people kind of opens that up too. We've been told, and we're specifically told in my place of employment, don't tell people what you make. Now, don't get it twisted. Most people, I'm saying, people share. So I know for sure that a guy I know who was doing the exact same job as me was paid about 10 grand more a year than I was. with considerably less experience than I had, and so forth. And I was super salty off it, but couldn't do nothing about it because we're not allowed to discuss it. But maybe in reality, and apparently in reality, we should be discussing it and saying shit a little bit more loud, because as it turns out, by keeping this stuff like this secretive or on the low, companies just be, basically abusing folk, you know what I'm saying, and not paying people well, and or like I said, such a disparity that you're like, word? And so that is again the change that maybe it was necessary this whole time, and maybe that's why I'm okay or glad to see it. So I mean, please, if you are so inclined, speak on it, jump in here.
Well, speaking as a white Puerto Rican, I don't see the need to do brown face to be a Puerto Rican as a costume. You could have just been a Puerto Rican, but I don't even know if that was okay. I mean, you're not Al Pacino. What the fuck you doing?
Of course, it was a Halloween situation or a costume party.
Who says they're going to be a Puerto
sort.
Rican for Halloween?
Let me see if I can find you that
Traditional
picture.
New York Puerto Rican. All right, I have
The
to see
thing
this
about
picture.
cosplaying as a Puerto Rican is they're one of the races that literally has every type of color from the crayon box.
Pretty much. We're very the first color wise group. I got a couple redheaded cousins on both sides of the family.
Yeah, you guys are
My mom and my dad's.
Puerto Rican people are the epitome of what the world will probably look more like in a couple hundred years after we have more interracial couples. Honestly, like that South Park episode where the people come back from the future because the future's overpopulated, and they all kind of tan looking. I mean, realistically, we'll probably settle somewhere in that kind of middle.
Oh, it looks like I'm looking at the picture. One, pretty good cosplay. I gotta hand it to him. I would have thought he was a Puerto Rican. I wouldn't have known he was in costume for Halloween. Who are you supposed to be? Someone famous? No, I'm just Puerto Rican. He's got a Bronx hat on and a Yankees jet.
Maybe he was supposed to be Daddy Yankee. That's my guess. Because in the early 2000s, wasn't Gasolina real big?
Oh man!
Let's see a side by side.
What I want you to know was real fun about that particular one. His wife put that picture up, thinking shit was sweet.
Is his wife the one supposed to be dressed like a Puerto Rican girl?
Correct.
Okay.
She got her hair slicked.
Yeah.
And flattened, and got the big hoop earrings.
See, Gasolina came out in 2004. Which was, I guess, supposedly around the time that picture was taken. My theory isn't dead in the water yet.
He's got the thin beard, and Daddy Yankee is clean shaven. I think he's just supposed to be a generic Puerto Rican.
Man, you are hitting them out the park, bro. That might have to be another one.
So, while we've been on this call, not to change the subject, I definitely want to continue this. I was looking something up, and within the last hour, 2 news reports have come out regarding Colin Kaepernick. First one, Pete Carroll regrets Seattle's decision not to sign Colin Kaepernick. Pete Carroll said he regrets the decision from the Seattle Seahawks in 2017 not to sign Colin Kaepernick. Carroll also denied that a meeting in 2018 with Kaepernick was canceled due to the franchise's uncertainty about whether he planned to continue protesting during the national anthem. Kaepernick visited the Seahawks in the spring of 2017 after opting out of his contract with the San Francisco 49ers, making him a free agent. Carroll said the Seahawks viewed Kaepernick as a starter still, and he was confident he would sign elsewhere. Kaepernick has yet to be signed since becoming a free agent in 2017. Carroll didn't rule out the possibility of Seattle signing Kaepernick, but he said he likes Geno Smith as a backup behind Russell Wilson, so that means no. Then the second article, which I think is just a branch off that article I read, says there is at least one team with interest in signing Colin Kaepernick, according to Pete Carroll. Carroll said he received a call from an undisclosed team on Thursday asking about Kaepernick. Kaepernick has remained a free agent since 2017. And then there was another article that I read, came out last night, which is a branch off of an article that came out a couple of days ago, was more of a quote. So I don't know how many people out there remember the MLB player Torrey Hunter, but he was an outfielder. He played for the Twins and the Angels, amongst other teams, I think. But those are the two that I mainly remember. And I think he played for the Tigers, too, at the end of his career. Everywhere he went, any contract he signed, he included, and it was like mandatory, that he have a no-trade clause to only one team in Major League Baseball, and it was the Boston Red Sox. And he said he never wanted to play for the Boston Red Sox because of all the racist remarks that were said to him from the fan base.
Wow.
And so yesterday, the Boston Red Sox actually commented on it, and it said, the Boston Red Sox have responded to recent comments by Torrey Hunter regarding racial abuse at Fenway Park. Quote, Torrey Hunter's experience is real. If you doubt him because you've never heard it yourself, take it from us, it happens. The club said in a statement, last year there were 7 reported incidents at Fenway Park where fans used racial slurs. Those are just the ones we know about. And it's not only players. It happens to the dedicated black employees who work for us on game days. Their uniforms may be different, but their voices and experiences are just as important. The retired Hunter told ESPN's Golic and Wingo last week that racial abuse he received from fans at Fenway led him to put the Red Sox in the no-trade clauses in his contracts. In their statement Wednesday, the Red Sox said they would remain committed to using our platform to amplify the many voices who are calling out injustice.
Again, things that should have already happened. Right?
I shouldn't have taken Torrey Hunter saying something or recent current events to get on top of this.
But again,
I mean, let's be honest though. With Boston, this shit has been known for years, decades.
Yeah, this is not, I don't know why I said wow. This didn't surprise me.
I remember in 13, 14 years ago now, when Kevin Garnett was getting traded from Minnesota, and it's he did not want to go to Boston at first because of all the shit that's gone down in Boston over the years with racism towards black players.
Yeah.
I wish you would have followed up on that and came to Cleveland.
And think about it, though. It's if they'll treat players there like that, how do they treat just the normal folk that aren't winning them all these fucking championships?
Exactly.
Yeah, a black coach won them their last NBA title.
I mean, bruh, it's like one of the greatest players of the game played there, but they don't make them not racist.
I mean, I guess there's no logic to racism. That's all.
Yeah, we got to quit trying to be. Yeah, quit. I'm not trying to yell at you. You do what you will with this, but we sometimes I feel like we must stop trying to, make sense of this shit. It doesn't make sense. Racism doesn't make sense.
Yeah, why are you mad? They're mad because they're stupid. That's why.
Yeah, so it's cool. I thank for bringing those. They fit well into this discussion right now. We still out here protesting. Just because the news stopped showing it to you don't mean it's not happening. I was on what is the Delvin Cox Experience YouTube channel is where we were live at last night. But I'll actually have probably a copy of that to be able to put on the skim feed if necessary. I was on a discussion last night about race and about where the country is right now, and I was saying how last night how it is just because they not showing it to you doesn't mean it's not happening, but also it's happening in places where you would never thought it would have happened. You know what I'm saying? Avon, Ohio is a little town up the road from us that had a Black Lives Matter anti-police violence protest over this past weekend. That's amazing. Because trust me, it's not a ton of black people who live there.
Yeah, that's money, and that's usually where NFL players live.
Yeah, that is a big deal that those people decided to use their collective voice to say, yo, this shit's got to stop. And that's a big deal. And what I said, Chalfie was on the show, Delvin Cox himself, and I forgot the other guy who I was on the show with last night. Dre was his name, but I can't remember what Dre is from. But
oh man, you forgot about him?
That was actually the joke they made in the group chat they had when we were setting this up. It was like, you literally forgot about Dre. Haha. But Chalfie asked the question, how did I feel about these little towns or these places who just, who don't have this problem rising up to try to speak out against it. And I celebrated it. I celebrate it still because change don't come from just, us. We are black people. I say that we are only 12% of this population of this nation. And though we want to make the change, it does not mean we will be the change. And so it will take more than just us to push change forward. So I think it's dope that these small communities all over our country. Seriously, I saw a protest that happened in I want to say Fairbanks, Alaska. But if I'm wrong, forgive me. I charged to my head, not to my heart, as my homegirl Nick Jew would say. But all over the country, you know what I'm saying, people are out here doing the damn thing, trying to protest and trying to make this place better. And that excites me. Because, so we out here, we fighting a good fight still. Again, just because the news has decided it ain't worth talking about no more. But also, currently, as it turns out, COVID is the COVID cases are on a megaton rise because guess what? States open too soon, and you'll hear if you hear the media within let's say within a week of you hearing me say it's because the protesters. Well, that mathematically ain't how it plays out. It's definitely from people who was opening up, states that opened up for Memorial Day and was thinking come on, we can get back to it.
I feel like they're in the sweep it under the rug phase though. Because, when we were all on lockdown, it was, constant updates, news reports, what's going on? And now that, places have opened back up and people are going back out, it's almost like they're like, fuck it. You can't throw us back into the houses. We're out now. Too late. No take-backs. Mm-hmm. Fuck how many people get sick. We're out here. Whatever. And then, it's the last couple days, man, it's I see some stuff about, protests and things like that, but the COVID stuff, man, it has died down drastically. They're both kind of dying down in the feeds I frequent, and by frequent I mean don't barely use it anymore because I'm slowly getting off of social media altogether. But it was 24/7 in your face, and now it's half, if that. People's attention span changes so fast.
You blame people, and I understand why you would. Whereas I say a press that seems to want to not talk about it no more has decided what we're going to discuss now going forward.
The press, I understand where you're coming from on that, because part of it too might be because they don't want to stick on a story that for so long, keep moving to the next thing to keep drawing people in. But I say people because when I go on social media like Instagram, there are a few people who are continuing to post things about protests and Black Lives Matter, and I see they've kind of moved to supporting black businesses. But the majority of the people I follow on social media, it was we put up our square, we waited our mandatory 48-hour mourning period, now it's back to business as usual. We're posting our tummy teas, and I'm taking pictures in front of the mirror, and there have been a few people that have posted a picture and then the caption will be stuff about social injustice, but the majority of the people it's almost okay, last week is over, we're back to reality again.
Well, I've been seeing major, and again we're pushing up on the weekend here as we record, so I think what it has come down to is we can't do it every day of the week no more, but people are coming out to make sure they try to get to it every weekend. And they're organizing and protesting as much as they can. They still out here tearing down statues and fighting the good fight. And
I guess at this point though, what do the protests do in this moment? We protested for a couple weeks, so it's shouldn't the plan now to be action of sorts? Well,
no doubt, and that is what like I said for years. If you take it back to the civil rights movement, we protested when we could protest. Because it kept the fire lit. It kept people aware that this fight still is going forward. But also it kept politicians basically try to keep politicians honest and still out here trying to make significant changes to what's going on out here. The stories that have come out that have revealed that we pay the price we pay for policing ourselves is so outlandish and outrageous that we probably should have been looking at this a long time ago. Is now something that definitely has to be taken care of. Like, so you telling me I'm giving, in many a situation, a good 80% of a city's budget is to policing, and then you ain't, you know what I'm saying, you only in that policing you are fucking up people left and right, so lawsuits are happening left and right, cases are getting thrown left and right, because it does happen, you know what I'm saying. I guess NYPD has paid out millions in settlements, you know what I'm saying, but that's a part of that has to be a part of their budget, when millions could have been going to schools in New York, it could have been going to mental health in New York, any number of things. Instead, we just been paying for these little like military forces to exist within these cities because we worry that we need policing. And I'm not saying we don't need police officers, but maybe there is a way to do this without breaking the fucking bank. You know what I'm saying? And so when I see the union rep of the New York Police Department yelling how the government, the legislator is against them, and the press thinks we're thugs and blah blah blah. And
you shoved the plunger up a man's ass.
It's so terrible. It's so terrible how they're treating us. And I'm like, yeah, welcome to it. Because I've been black my whole life, and they've been doing this to me they've been doing this to we black people for ever since policing was pretty much invented. And so the process at this point is to keep the fire lit. You got to keep stoking the flames of change, because it doesn't change if you just all of a sudden say, all right, we're not going to protest tomorrow, we're good. Nah, you got to hit it. You got to hit it hard. You got to continually hit it, unless you're just cool with it right now. And I don't think anybody's cool with it right now. And I think
I didn't want to make it seem like I think everything's cool, but I mean, right, like, no, I guess just like I was like, what's phase 2? You know?
Yeah, phase 2 is indeed to try to get the defunding and or disbanding of policing in this country. The defunding part is probably where we're going to start at, and that's going to be a bunch of fucking people or a bunch of police unions salty AF. But maybe if they stop killing people, with impunity, and and maybe, you know what I'm saying, if they, just try to test rape kits as opposed to letting them stack for 30 years and so forth and so on. Like I said, people have been out, what are you going to do without police? Well, as it turns out, probably just the same. Because people's stuff gets stolen all the time and nothing seems to change about it, No one seems to follow up on that.
Hey, they found that guy's car in the junkyard.
Sexual assault occurs in this country at an insanely high rate, and like I said, rape kits aren't tested, and rarely do people go to jail for rape. I know you like to hope and think that that's what's going on, but it really doesn't happen like that.
Have you seen the comments from dudes on social media with like that now, where it's like, well, what's to stop me from raping you if the police don't exist? Like, you do it already.
Jesus.
It's like it's like it will be the same, sir. You're gonna do that anyway because you're clearly a rapist. God, who says that?
How many people are sitting around going like, man, if it wasn't for this damn police and those damn laws, I'd be raping.
There are people apparently, unless they're Russian bots. I definitely saw a couple tweets that were screen capped and people were sharing around where it was young white dudes. And we're like, what's to stop me from raping you without cops? You're all stupid. Like, no, you just outed yourself as a fucking rapist.
Yeah, exactly.
How many? Seriously, how many crimes are stopped in the act of the crime? Police. We're talking about police, not fucking superheroes or vigilantes or Batman here. They're just
the majority of the time they're the cleanup crew. Shit already happened.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like they're not gonna make it there in time to prevent it.
Yeah. So, and again, like I said, it would appear they're not attempting to do what they're not trying to do detective work and solve the crimes. I mean, I guess they're good for kidnappings, but that seems to happen a lot. And again, we had people in this town who were kidnapped and locked in a house for years,
They weren't found by the cops.
and they didn't get found by the cops. So,
Who found him? A black man.
respect due. So that I know is phase two. Phase two is to really take a look at policing in this country and try to do, like I said, we gotta get rid of tear gas. I realize these things seem whatever. These are Barack Obama said, if you want to see some change in this country, then he said don't just say I won't change, but to lay out specifics that you want done, so you can go to your representatives and say this, and this have got to be reconciled or taken care of, so they know and understand what is going on and get an idea of what it is. So, like I said, tear gas, which is apparently against the Geneva Convention as a chemical agent, chemical warfare weapon of sorts, should not be being used against protesters. Mace and pepper spray and the like. You know what I'm saying? We should not be like I said, making these small military forces. You know what I'm saying? We are arming police for fighting Al Qaeda, not, you know what I'm saying, Junebug for crossing against the green. You know what I'm saying? That's just not what should be occurring here. And so this is the change that we hope to see. We also, like I said, right now it's still people who got arrested for these protests, and I'm saying they still need to be bailed out. There are bail funds all over the internet right now. If you got a couple of dollars to throw their way, and I want you to understand, you might think that putting $5 on it ain't shit, but if we all putting $5 on it, it becomes massive. So don't think any little amount isn't enough. It is more than enough. And I guarantee you, these people are grateful to have it because, again, you're helping bail people out who need it. You know what I'm saying? They still haven't arrested the cops who murdered Breonna Taylor. And that shit has got to be spoken above until they do get arrested. And the police released a little statement about it, which is basically four pieces of paper that said, okay, this is what happened. But, again, no apologies. No working toward change there. They did pass a law in Louisville, I think just tonight, that said no more no-knock warrants, because that is what led to Breonna Taylor's death. So they're good. Again, Box, these are the changes that we are seeing. They are of course, like we just discussed last week, incremental, but they do come, and a change definitely got to come at this point, because, like I said, now the whole world took a good look at what we've been doing in our policing, and bruh, we getting looked at so sideways. That Australian reporters thing still, to this, like I said, it still sticks with me. I cannot believe that happened. But I'm also I'm grateful it happened, because, like I said, the world need to see that. Because, like I said, I don't think people have been watching enough, and I'm glad they are watching now, and watching with a keen eye. And like I said, everybody being home for Corona, it helps even more, because everybody kind of seems to have the time, you know. So hopefully that is what we are working toward, the defunding, and if need be, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying just fuck the cops and I am always saying fuck the cops. I'm not saying disbanding police is not whatever, but it is a necessary kind of situation, and so defunding and disbanding has to occur.
Well, they did propose social services receive some of those funds and, be the responsive agency in some of these situations, because some of these situations don't need cops. They need some type of social services to swoop in and take action, as opposed to like a police officer. Like, how many situations could have been avoided with some type of social services coming in and checking out the situation, rather than a police officer with a gun.
Yeah. So, again, we keep fighting the good fight. I like I said, the videos just keep coming. I saw a video this week that actually I responded to somebody in the chain of responses, and that one response keeps getting liked by people, which is weird. Because, again, they like it. Nobody responds to it. Nobody retweets it. But they give it a heart. And I'm like, what is going on there? A liquor store owner in Georgia called the cops to come get a guy who was trying to rob a store, and the cops beat up the liquor store owner. Broke his jaw, and the guy who robbed him just walked right past the cops out the store because they didn't think that white guy was the robber. They thought that black guy was the robber. And when he started cursing them out, they started beating him up. And it's wild out here right now.
That goes back to the old Dave Chappelle's joke where he's like, he's afraid to call the cops because this place is too nice for him to own.
The cops who showed their body camera footage said it looked like he was reaching for a gun. But what I want you to notice during this body camera footage is you can see both the man's hands, and he definitely is not. You can see both his hands, which means he's not reaching for a gun. Also, he called you to come help him at his store. So, you know.
So that's got to be mentioned from now on when you call, like, okay, when you arrive on the scene, I'm the black guy. I'm
Apparently.
the black woman. Please do not shoot me.
Yeah, and don't beat me up. I guess maybe that's what we have to do. But there you go. So it's it's a bit wild out here right now. And
was this a video?
Yeah, I sent you.
I probably should not watch it if it's gonna make sound.
Well, I mean, if you just watch it right quick and we'll jump back to it, you can see.
He looks like a liquor store owner. That's a liquor store owner's hat. He has got this black fedora on. Oh my!
His hands were like he pointed, and then his hands were at his side. He never reached for shit.
Again, yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm giving commentary for those who can't see what we're watching.
Yeah.
There's a man in a fabulous fedora talking to three white officers. He points at one, and the man who he was pointing at and shouting at didn't seem to appreciate it, so he jacked him in the face and pretended like the man was reaching for a gun. He reared back to get full force. It wasn't even like a quick movement. Like he planned to punch him.
Yes, he came in there with the intent of harming that man. And the person I responded to, my response was, but that's the store owner who called the cops. Why are they punching the victim of a robbery at all? And that was all I asked. And apparently, lots of people agree and like my post, I guess. And it's like, the only reason I bring it up is because it's weird. Because, like I said, it keeps every time I'm on Twitter, I got like a notification saying somebody else liked that shit. I'm like, I guess I don't understand. I don't understand, but you apparently do. So go for it.
Who dresses like that to commit a robbery?
Yeah, bruh. That's just racism. And again, you let a robber walk right past you. The job of police officers is to stop crimes. Here, they could have stopped the crime in process, superhero style, like we just discussed. They could have been on the scene and stopped it, and instead they beat up the guy who called them for help. So
that was like a scene in a movie I watched the other night. So I was watching, it was a cop movie called Black and Blue, and the premise of the movie is a black woman comes home, this was in New Orleans, she comes home from serving 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan, and she joins the New Orleans Police Department, and she, on her body cam, catches fellow police officers gunning down drug dealers. And so they spend the movie trying to get her so that they get the body cam footage back. But in one scene in the movie, Tyrese Gibson is in the movie, and he calls the cops to his store that he's working at. And when they show up, like they treat him like he's the suspect, and they like put him down on the counter, and they run his information and everything. Similar situation.
Again, if it is very apparent now at this point that police aren't doing the job we pay them for. Apparently we pay them too well for it, in fact. And so they're not solving crimes. They aren't stopping crimes in progress. They aren't rescuing people. They aren't solving rapes or and so forth, but they are attacking people left and right. So this is why we have to defund the police and like I said, and dismantle this fucking broken ass system because they can't get right. So why bother? You know what I'm saying?
Is 12 a levy for police? I'm just trying to understand the whole defund 12 thing.
I have not come across that phrasing.
It's on your girl's Instagram profile, Sola. She's got like some sort of link on there. It's like defund 12 or something like that, and it takes you to a link where it's just like every state's like mayors and political representatives, and then it has a thing that says like 12 equal cops. I saw a bunch of like protesters saying it, and like I didn't understand if they were talking about like Tom Brady or something.
Defund 12.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things. There's like so many different parts that like I don't know everything. So like sometimes I'm just watching shit and I'm like I have no idea what they're talking about or what's going on. I understand the gist of things, but I don't understand all the finer points.
Yeah. And I like I said, I'm not even hip to this defund 12. I see what it is. I see that it is indeed it basically gives you the ability to email government officials.
I know. I need like a index for protest terms.
Yeah, because they keep growing so quickly. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I again, and this is something I had mentioned to Anthony. I had never heard or read or the phrase by POC, but it showed up in when Sola was talking about her experience in the test kitchen, and people were saying how they should have been more understanding or did more for their fellow by POCs, and I was like, what does that turn to phrase? What does that turn to phrase? I hadn't come across that before. Like like how we discussed Latinx. Well, by POC is black, indigenous, and people of color. And I actually went to go poke around and see when I could find a first, kind of use of that. And the furthest back I could find it was early in 2018. But who knows how long that phrase has been around. But it's new to me, It's a learning. I didn't realize we had what's known as an umbrella term for black, indigenous, and people of color. You know what I'm saying? And the reasons we have that is because the black experience is different from a person of color experience. They're two very different things. You know what I'm saying? And so oftentimes people would just lump black people in with people of color, and it does not. Those groups of people's experience is wildly varied. You know what I'm saying? An Asian person is indeed a person of color, but their experience is very, very, very different than a black person's. And so that is where that term comes up. So if you see BIPOC or just BPOC, that's what it means: black, indigenous, and people of color, or just black people of color. And so black and people of color, because I've seen people use it a couple of different ways. In these discussions right now. So we out here, people. I'm saying we are we out here, and I guess I'm glad we're out here. It is good to see the good fight being fought, and we hope for change. And again, it took a very long time to get the laws that were Jim Crow laws changed. And even still, all these years later, it's like a lot of stuff came back under this particular Supreme Court. They got rid of the Voting Rights Act, just destroyed it, which is why Tuesday's election in Georgia, Wednesday's, was it yesterday or was it the day before? Either way, the most recent election in Georgia was such a goddamn shit show, and where all of in mostly black areas, people were unable or made to have very difficult voting experiences because the Roberts Supreme Court fucking gutted the Voting Rights Act because he swore shit was sweet, and he knew it wasn't sweet, but he just, hey, he wanted to let these people be free of those rules, and this is what comes of it: an inability to vote if you are a person of color or a black person in certain places in this country. So that's why you got to get out there and do your part. And like I said, I know, and I said as much last night on the show I was on. I do want people to vote in November. I want people to get out, and I want people to vote in droves. But for right now, if you can, go ahead and get out there and walk. Go ahead and get out there and protest with the people. White people, I truly need you to shield black people, metaphorically and physically, from cops who are just out here shooting haphazardly, shooting rubber bullets, shooting actual bullets. I would ask, if you can't walk, that you and during this time of great financial strife for so many, if you can donate, please do donate. Donate to bail funds. Donate to Black Lives Matter in general. Donate to the cause, and so we can help fund the change that we so want to see in this country. And then, yeah, when it comes to November, sure thing. Do all you can to vote. I would tell you right now, if your state just seems to be on some bullshit here during the primaries, consider trying to sign up for vote by mail and making that the way you vote going forward. Because if they're gonna make it so hard for you to vote in person, then make it hard for them just to try to disenfranchise and take your vote from you in general. Make it as difficult for them as it can be. So that's where I'm at in all of this. Yeah, I did introduce the show. Okay. I'd hate to be so deep in and realize, oh shit, I didn't introduce. We were like 20 minutes in last week before I realized I hadn't introduced the show. So I'm glad we have done that. What's been going on with you, Daniel, besides this? I mean, you out here doing yard work, getting burnt to a crisp.
I went out in public
living
the
a
other
good
day.
life. Yeah. Tell me about this whole wing situation, if you care to share. If that's what you were discussing, if that's what you meant.
Well, yeah. So my buddy's birthday was yesterday, but I had to work this week, so he came over Sunday and he helped me do some yard work, and then me, him, and another buddy, we went out. It was the first time I've been to a restaurant physically since this all started popping off back in March, and so we went out about 40 minutes away to a town called Vermilion. They have a wing place that's right next to a river over there, so you get a nice little aesthetic. And we head out that way, and we hopped on the waiting list when we got there because they had to space people out in the restaurant and whatnot. So they have a patio, and then they have inside seating. So we went down for whatever was available because they close at 8, and when we got there, it was like 6-ish, and they were talking about like an hour and a half wait. But we're like, well, we came all this way. We'll see what happens. So they put us on the wait list, took our cell phone number, and then we ended up going down the street to a Giant Eagle, which is a local grocery store, and doing a little grocery shopping just to kill time. It was, I was like, oh man, let's go see what they have in the liquor store there. And then I forgot that it was Sunday and their liquor store was closed, so we ended up just doing normal groceries. But it worked out because I got a few things I needed for this week. But we ended up going back to the restaurant. We got called, and we got sat on the patio, not really near anyone, and nothing. Honestly, the whole experience wasn't really any different than dining was prior to anything, like except for the fact that our waitress had a mask on.
Okay.
I didn't feel like I was like nervous around people per se. Like in the back of my mind, there's always like that thought of like, okay, is someone around me sick? Am I going to get sick from this? But, like, it didn't give me, like, crippling anxiety or anything like that. I ended up doing their new wing challenge, which hurt like a son of a bitch. I won, and they screwed me out of my t-shirt because they didn't tell me until after I completed the challenge that they didn't have any of the reward shirts. So I ended up getting a free shirt from their store, which I'm never going to wear because it's gray. And it's funny, though, because like, I think the waitress knew that I was kind of irritated and disappointed by it. I didn't get rude with her. I didn't, like... I think just the way I was talking to her, though, like, I think she felt bad. So, like, the manager comes out, and she asks where we all live. And, you know, we tell her, and she goes, oh, yeah, I live in Berea, which is, like... 2 towns over from me, but it's like a 10-minute drive tops. And she goes, well, I can order a t-shirt. It'll take like 7 to 10 days to come here. And I'm like, I'm not about to drive 40 minutes out here and then 40 minutes back for a t-shirt that I'm never going to wear. So I'm like,
Yeah.
it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'll deal with the butthole burn and the shirt that I'm never gonna wear. Thank you. The wings, like, they had like a nice little berry flavor to them, but like it dissipated very quickly, and they were made with some sort of scorpion venom sauce that had extracts in it, which I've explained to people in the past. Extracts burn way hotter, I think, than just normal peppers because they're so concentrated. But I got all 6 down. They even tried to cheat by putting a 7th one in my bowl, but I'm wise. I know how to count.
Yeah.
So I did the 6. I won, and I burned the shit out of my mouth and my throat. I had stomach pains the next day, but within 24 hours, I was good to go, right as rain, and no lingering effects. So
Did you pee pepper?
I did touch my wee-wee within an hour of that and had a little bit of a wee-wee burn, but nothing. I've actually had wee-wee burn worse in the past with other peppers I've eaten compared to this.
Yeah.
This one of the wings, I tried to kind of swallow whole almost because I just was trying to get it down because I was like hurting, and by not chewing it, I basically just coated the back of my throat with the sauce. And so I was getting throat burn in a place where I couldn't really soothe it with any water or anything. So I just had to kind of, suffer through that. But then after that, like, we dropped one dude off at his place, and then my buddy came back here and we watched the wrestling pay-per-view that was on that night. And then he left because he's been off all week. He's on vacation, but I had to wake up for work the next morning. So I basically just been at the house. He's come over and helped me with the yard a couple times, which is now done. And then this Saturday, I agreed to go over a buddy's house because he's doing like a beer Olympics event thing. So it'll be my first time interacting with people on a social event since this all happened. And now with the COVID cases rising, there's a very strong chance I could get corona this Saturday. So within 2 weeks, I may be dead. Who knows?
Hey.
But I mean, I guess that's kind of where I'm at right now. I guess like this is the point I was going to make earlier when we were talking about the COVID cases rising, and I was talking about like people just kind of like ignoring it, where like it's been 3 months and people are kind of at that restless stage. So at this point, like it's like the risks, and people are just going to do what the fuck they're going to do, and whatever happens. Like I'm not going crazy with things, but like. I had nothing to do, and I the thing about it too is that I hit maybe on the event, which also I realized I haven't even been going on Facebook once a day like I had been. Shit, I went like 3 days the other day without going on Facebook. So I'm proud of myself for that. I'm weaning myself off. Twitter too. Like I've had when I went on Twitter this morning, I hadn't been on Twitter in over a day, so that was pretty cool. Instagram's got titties though, so I'm sorry. I still use Instagram, a couple times a day. Titties and booty.
I find Instagram and Twitter to be much nicer spots. Like I said, I have honed my Twitter to a fucking fine ass point, and so most of the time I see what I need to see. I'm not gonna lie to you, I do see some action, but but rarely do I see bullshit.
I think what it is I'm just tired of everyone for the most part.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Like so. I wish Anthony was on here tonight because I wanted to talk to him about that Searching movie. But there was a part of that movie, and it's not really like a plot hole or anything. There was a part of the movie where like there's a video posted to like I guess it would be YouTube in the movie. I don't know if they use the official YouTube channel, but essentially a video gets posted. And it's like the camera scrolls down to the comment section of the video, and you get to just see all the weird, stupid, like ridiculous bullshit people would say about the video. And like it's a movie, so people would think, oh, it's a movie, this shit won't be real. But then it's like you think about real life, and like those kind of comments do get said in real life. And like watching it in that movie, and then thinking about it, I'm like, this is why like I'm just tired of social media. And like a week ago, I thought about wanting to live on a farm. It might even get to the point where I stop doing this show.
If it comes to it, man, I understand. It's just sometimes you got to do what's best for your mental well being, and I respect the hell out of it.
I think I've reached that point in my life where like I'm not open to being open with everybody anymore. I'm kind of like I got who I got, and but it'd be like an NFL team. I've got my starters, I've got my all pros. Every now and again, we might do a little shuffling at the end of the roster, but for the most part, I'm pretty set. Like,
yeah,
I don't need to go out there like and accumulate thousands of friends. Like, I'm good. I don't want to hear people's bullshit. I just want to live my life, do what makes me happy, eventually die. Hopefully not soon, but like, I'm just saying, it's like I've never really been the type of person that wants to be like in everybody's life like a little bit. Like, I just want to be like with people that make me comfortable, and that's it. Like a handful of people, I'm good. I don't need 7,000 friends. That like it's more like 5 friends and 6,995 acquaintances. Like I like talking to people to a degree, but like not to the degree I used to force myself to do it because I thought that I had to do it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's it. Just trying to grow as a person. For listeners, I guess I should share that with you. I have deleted Facebook. It is not disabled, not whatever. That bitch is gone, and I will not be returning to it. That means the show will not be being posted on there no more because I'm just not gonna do it because I don't have the ability to do it. So don't depend on Facebook as a source for getting the show if you ever did, because it ain't gonna be there no more. Because fuck Mark Zuckerberg, and that's what's up with that. If you wonder why I left Facebook finally, it was literally because he refused to do anything about Trump's bullshit, and that was enough for me to say, hey, I already was like not cool with it, but that was the final blow.
Does Trump be on there posting what's on his mind?
So if his stuff shows up, right? I don't know if you know, but on Twitter they will now, if he says some outlandish ass shit, they will go ahead and offer either a warning to say there's some wild ass shit, and or a link to say he lying. Here's the truth. And when they ask Zuckerberg, hey man, are you gonna do anything about this guy this president of ours to just keep lying? And or just, basically threatening people to say it if they start looting, start shooting, which is basically a threat of violence. And he was like, nah, I'm gonna let him say that. I'm gonna let him talk that shit, and I'm gonna let him tell his lies unimpeded. I was like, well, then I can't support this. I can't support this anymore. And I get it. Facebook owns Instagram. I know. But I was down with Facebook before Facebook. I was down with Instagram before Facebook bought them, and it's not my fault that company bought a company out whose service I enjoyed. But no Facebook Messenger, no more me posts. I mean, I guess the page will be there. It exists. Do with it what you will. I have no control over it, and in fact, I believe it goes to second in command, which is Box, and he definitely ain't gonna be on there doing nothing with it. But that's what's up.
I get notifications from it every now and again, though.
Hey,
I got one the other day. It's like 10 people have viewed your page, and I'm like 10 bots most likely.
So that's what's going on there. I thought I'd make you aware of that, and so don't worry about the Facebook page no more. You know what I'm saying? We got a website; it works fine. We have the Twitter. I do hit that one. Actually, I tweeted. The show goes automatically out on Twitter when I post the show, but I actually didn't write a tweet on the show page today.
At least with Twitter, you have more filter options. Like I have certain phrases or words blocked so that I don't see tweets with those words.
Exactly.
With Facebook, it's like people are free to post whatever they want, and your only options are to unfollow them or unfriend them. Otherwise, you have to see every single fucking thing they post unimpeded, and like it just becomes taxing on you mentally because it's like your natural incarnation or natural instinct is like, for me, I guess, not for everyone. Some people, I guess, are just more chill. But like when you see someone post something stupid, like you immediately have a thought. Whether you want to say it or not, you have a thought of some kind. My problem is I would want to be like, hey, that thing you posted is really fucking stupid, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I don't want to live my life like that anymore. Because it's like, it's just drain on my energy for no reason. Like, I have a buddy who every day... Actually, now that I think about it, I closed our group chat earlier today, and I haven't been back in it. I should probably check on that. I was busy with work, and like they kept posting about the PlayStation, and so I closed out of Facebook Messenger a couple times out of the chat, like when like the little icon pops up, and when you do that like 2 or 3 times, it stops sending you the notifications. So now I probably have like 300 missed messages, but whatever. But like, he's been one of the people who's like, he'll find shit on Twitter or Facebook and like he'll screen cap it and send it to us, or he'll send us the link to a video. And it was like multiple times a day of this for like day after day after day. And he sent us something the other night where like it was a white college student. And do you remember in science class when like they would have you do the genealogy for plants? And it was like the box, the 4 square box, and you would have to like cross pollinate the genetics to figure out like, oh, this one is gonna be, it'd be like XX and XY, you know, like figuring out the chromosomes. So it was like that, but for racial slurs. And before like I'd seen the thing, someone had said something about it, and I guess it was like a negative reaction to the video, and then he was almost in a devil's advocate way, and he's someone who would like, I know is not saying that the guy's right for what he did, but it was like a kind of like he has the right to say what he wants to say, but like he should know consequences are going to come kind of statement. But I was just like, okay, what are you doing here that like you keep hammering us with all these fucking videos of all this shit people are doing, and then it's like you post this video and then you immediately turn around and say this guy can say whatever he wants. He has the right to say whatever he wants. Like, what is your end game here? Like, you send me 100 videos a day. What am I supposed to glean from the fact that there's shitty people out there in the world? I already know that. Like, there's nothing I can do about any of these videos. You're just, like, oversaturating me to the point where, like, you're bringing my give a shit meter down. And now it's just, like, making me not want to even interact in this chat anymore. Like, if you're just going to send me shit and then almost defend it, but, like, I know you're not defending it. But, like, what are you doing here besides wasting my time? I guess, like, I understand I'm sympathetic to everyone's situation. And, like, me watching 100 videos of people doing random bullshit crap on the internet, where does that get anyone anywhere? Like, I understand needing to document things for reference and pointing out bad people and all that, but like, you sending me every documented piece of evidence for every random bullshit shitty person on the internet isn't getting anyone anywhere. Like, I'm not building a case against anybody. I'm not archiving anything. Like, I already know that shitty people exist. I've known that my entire life. I've met a lot of them. Like, you don't need on a Saturday night at 10 p.m. to send me a random-ass video from Twitter. At least something that basic. Like, if it's a news event or something funny or, I don't know, man, like, 2 weeks of just straight, like, oh, look at this person tearing down a Black Lives Matter sign. Like, I know, I've seen it already multiple times.
I have not.
Oh,
Again,
you haven't?
I live my life a different way. I curate my feed in a different light. I don't.
But that's what I'm saying, though. This isn't a feed.
Yeah.
This is a group chat.
In this case, it is a feed. That is a feed that you're being fed from directly. It's like this motherfucker has got the spoon in his hand, is coming towards you, and you like, no, and he just keep coming with that spoon.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like, I'm not trying to bury my head in the sand and pretend like the world's perfect and these things don't exist.
No.
But it's like, I mean, like, this is our 12th college student this week saying something ignorant. Like, I mean, at this point, like, what more do you want from me? I've agreed with you already. They're ignorant. Like, dox them. I don't care. Do what you got to do. Like, call them shitty in the chat, whatever. But like, I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, and maybe that conversation is necessary. We're like, hey, bro.
I brought it up. Like, I was starting to get snarky, like, in kind of like, do we really have to keep doing this kind of way? Look, I even like, so the group chat used to be called Browns fans and Tommy, because our friend Tommy is a Falcons fan.
Because he's weird.
And then it eventually got changed to Corona Survivors.
Okay.
And then I changed it the other night to less fun, more activism. Because that's what that's what it's become. It's like it went from like a group of friends, guy friends, talking about sports and funny shit, to like just constant posts about corona death rates and should we or should we not quarantine, to now it's like two people just constantly posting the internet's dirty shit laundry.
Or
Like
it's those two particular people. Can you like I don't know, can you mute them or whatever? I don't know how group chat, I guess this group chat works. Can you be like, hey man, for right now I need to silence y'all
no,
too.
it's either mute the whole chat or nothing.
Yeah.
That's why I said my piece the other day, because I'm just like, I can't take it anymore. Like, this chat, you're making me not want to read it.
Yeah. Well, or just like, hey man, could you make a side chat for activism? And it's like, and just be like, hey man, I will gladly, from time to time, dip my toe in that activism just to make sure I'm aware and do what I need to do. But like, can we just keep this one for just, I don't know, shit jokes? I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what you think you need from it, but clearly you're not getting what you need from her currently. And I don't know how long that's been, but you ain't getting what you need from it. And sometimes if you ain't getting what you need from it, maybe you don't need to be a part of it, you know?
I guess I'm just holding out hope that, like, it'll come back around to the glory days, you know?
Hey, right now, man, the world is on fucking fire. So
I know, man. The fucking the empires that you wouldn't think would fall are falling. Like, look at Bon Appetit, man.
man, that shit bothers me to no end.
I mean, seriously though, like, look at like something that was universally loved by so many people in the span of like 48 hours just burned to the ground. Like, who knows if they're even gonna come back?
Yeah, exactly. And it went to from that, and then like, I don't know, like I said, again, you may, because you're not, you know what I'm saying, digging into that water, because you were saying you ain't trying to fill your brain with that shit. The stories that have come out of this shit now are just like,
I mean, I've read every single thing that you've sent us.
Yeah, well, there's been some other stuff that I just hadn't bothered sending y'all, but it's been like, that dude, Adam Rappaport, is a terrible person. Was a terrible person. His assistant, who lives in New York, makes less money than I make by a lot. And
are you surprised though? I mean,
yes.
like, when I say that, I mean, think about the video that we saw when they all went into quarantine and we saw all their houses.
God, that is a sin and a shame. They really.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
some of them straight up do living like, bruh, you live here? Yeah.
It's not like they're all living in like New York co-ops, you know?
Yeah. But I guess one, this man's assistant is a Stanford graduate. You know what I'm saying? This is somebody who went to an Ivy League school with hopes of doing work with Condé Nast and Bon Appetit in particular. You know what I'm saying? Was hopes of, okay, I'll go be an assistant and I'll grow through the company and rise up the ranks. But turns out it was never going to be that way, because this man apparently is a racist. Now I get it. We can't just call motherfuckers racist, but this motherfucker kind of playing like putting out there the vibe of a racist. And so I gotta kind of just ride out with that. Like, seems to me, motherfucker, you a racist. And
at least racing adjacent.
and so it's like I said, all the stuff that's coming out from there is like, damn, this whole organization is a real fucking shit show. And I'm sad for that. Again, and like I said, we've gone over already my reasons for being sad for it. I just am. And like you just said, it's so wild that something that was just so revered, so well thought of. These people have been on the Tonight Show and been everywhere. And people are like, yo, they so great. They seem so fun and blah, blah, blah. And I've been so happy to see them during quarantine.
Maybe this is how people in the South feel about the Confederate flag, though. Universally loved by them, you know. Then they see it fall and they can't let it go. I mean, honestly, like, I know it's presented to you in joke format, but reality, like, the similarities are kind of similar in a way. You know, like Bon Appetit may become like the Confederate flag like symbol for organizations that like use prop diversity to try and better their platform and make the the white executives rich.
Well, again, I simply hope for change, and I have no idea what all of a sudden got this country right to be like, well, you know what, those motherfuckers lost the war and were treasonous scum. Maybe we should be celebrating them. Cause surprise, Ben do that. I do that. God, I remember going to high school with this chick who was in the Daughters of the Confederacy, who tried to make the point in our social studies history class that the Civil War wasn't about slavery; it was about economics. And I just
The economics of owning people.
Yeah, the economics of goddamn slavery. Fuck that. That shit was in high school, and I still hold on to that heat. That lets you know how much that affected me. So, and goddamn, I've been in high school for like 25 years, so it's been a long damn time. But it's just what's going on out here, man, I guess. Gabriel, your wife literally just yelled at me earlier because your ass ain't been saying shit on these shows as if it's my fault. Talk, motherfucker. What is going on with you?
Well, I mean, as far as current events, I could talk about that, but we've talked that to death, and I'm trying to stay evergreen on the show and bring something light to the show. And I don't know if you have a Am I the Asshole
Sir,
this week.
It's a part of the show now. Worry not.
It's a part of the show?
That's a part of the show.
I wanted to add my own.
Oh, well, then here we are. We slide over into this week's version of Am I the Asshole? This time, Gabriel's going to bring his own variation on the theme.
I'm excited. This is the main reason that I even show up anymore.
Let's see what he has to say.
This is another drinking tale from back in the day. Back in the day being high school. If my kids ever listen to this, you know, your dad does not condone high school drinking.
You should, when they get to that age where you have like a talk with them, you should just give them like a Zune with like all of our back catalog on it or something and be like, here, learn about your dear old dad.
So this is, oh God, my apologies to little people because I involved a little person in this little adventure, I suppose, if you want to call it that. So I have a friend who was afraid of little people. There wasn't a logical fear to it. It was I guess, I don't know if he was saying it as a joke or was he really afraid of little people. But you know, mind you, this is before wokeness, people. So we know it's not okay not to have a fear of little people. But he had one, and after some drinking, I said, "Hey, I know where we can get one, a little person." My sister works one at. My sister used to work at Mark's. I don't know if that's okay to say. If you want to bleep that out, or you want me to re-say it.
Mark's is a grocery chain. It's not like a dude's house.
Okay. All right. Well, she used to work at Mark's, and she used to work with a little person. We weren't saying little person back then, by the way, but I'm going to say little person now for the purposes of this story and the purposes of being politically correct. So the plan was to convince this little person to hide in my trunk. And I'm going to tell my friend, like, all right, we got some beers. We need some help unloading them. And pop the trunk, and he's going to jump out and cling on to my friend. I'm waiting for a reaction, but I'm getting nothing.
I wasn't sure if that was the end of the story or not.
Oh, that's not the end of the story. That's just that was the plan we had to go pick him up. And so
did he agree to this?
I didn't even get a chance to propose it to him and talk to him because who I went to go. I don't know this. I didn't know this guy from anybody, but I knew my sister, and my sister's like I went when my sister got off of work, and I'm like, hey, I need your help. I need you to convince your coworker who's a little person to come with us to a party. And I explained the plan to her, and she's like, no, you're not doing that. What's wrong with you? which is, in retrospect, the appropriate reaction to that kind of plan. So not only do I have you could say is a horrible plan, I have I'm arguing with my sister in front of her place of work.
I guess I would say at this point, not an asshole, but really bad at pranks. Just because, like, I think in your mind that you thought that this person would have, like, it'd be like a movie where, like, there would be some sort of, like, spring-load action where, like, when the trunk lid opens and they pop out, you know? But that's not how that works. So, like...
Well, he's a person. He can jump. He can jump out of the trunk.
But he'd have to be, like, crouching, and, like, you wouldn't be able to close the trunk, right? If that were the case.
Okay, maybe he could, we open the trunk a little bit, and my friend reach in, and he grabs him with that the stubby little hands of his. Oh, sorry. I didn't know how else... How do you know else to describe his hands?
Hands!
Sir?
You call the motherfuckers hands.
Call him Trump-like, very tiny. But, like, you make it seem like this person would be able to spring and cling with ease. Like, you don't know this person's athletic capability, and you seem to just not be factoring in gravity and, like, distance in the trunk of, like, clearance. Like, there's you would have had to have done some test runs on this, I think.
There's still there the element of surprise where, like, you're expecting cases of beer and you get a human being.
I mean, I think, like, it would have been funnier if they had agreed to go in the trunk and then they pretended, like, when the person opened the trunk to get the beer, that, like, they pretended like they were kidnapped and they needed help. I think that would be funnier, but the whole springing onto the person and clinging to him just seems improbable. But I don't think asshole, no. I just think poor planning at pranks.
Disagree, but that's okay. We
Disagree with in what way?
Oh, that's an asshole thing. Deep down throughout it, that's asshole at its core. So, yes, in my opinion, you are the asshole.
I was a drunken asshole.
Doesn't make it better. In fact, it probably just makes it just worse.
It's not like I was going to use this guy just as a prop.
Is that why you're saying asshole? Because he's not treating him like a person, he's treating him as an object?
He's going to come and party with us, too.
Was he?
Yeah. I would expect him, after we give him a ride, to stick around and have a few beers with us and hang out.
Fair enough.
My friend that was afraid of him was his house that was having a party, so I don't know how deep this fear runs.
I think we need to put this on Reddit.
Write it up.
Yeah, get a consensus from the internet of people I don't want to talk to.
Oh,
is there a curb for, like, being young and stupid?
I mean, I guess you could just premise that in the beginning of your story.
It's like fucking...
Like, this isn't current
17
events.
at the time.
This happened in 1997.
It was 1997.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, so there you go.
All right.
Were you driving a Honda?
Wouldn't it have been funny to scare my friend, though?
I'm sorry, what?
Wouldn't it have been funny to scare my friend, though? Maybe
Why?
scare him into some tolerance?
Or he attacks and does irreparable damage to a person who just didn't even know what to expect. Like, none of this seems cool, bruh.
I wonder how much we have to tell the...
I don't know.
We had to tell
I think T's being a little harsh, though.
It's who I am.
I mean, honestly, like, it's not like you were going to force the guy into it. It seems like you were going to ask his permission.
Oh, no. Yeah, we're going to ask his permission. God, we're not going to kidnap a human being.
And maybe he wanted more friends, you know? Who knows? Like,
I know, but it also puts him in an uncomfortable position, you know what I'm saying, to have to be like, okay, I guess, or blah, blah, blah. You have no idea how he feels about his lot in life. You know what I'm saying?
That's why you got to talk to him. Bring it up, you know, ask him about him.
Well,
They're
how
like,
about maybe meet this guy for once and know him before you like the first this because this would have been the first time you met this person, correct?
well,
Correct.
it seems like
That's
he
why
would just
my
have to get his
sister
sister
didn't
on board, right?
She wouldn't even do the introduction and let him make the decision himself.
But that's
That's
what I'm
what I
saying.
feel
It's
was
like
unfair.
Gabe doesn't have to convince the guy to do it. He has to convince his sister to convince the guy because she's the one with the rapport.
We hope. She just works with the guy. They could be in two different departments. She may not know that dude from can of paint.
Now, is she the asshole for not even like doing an introduction and letting him make a decision?
No, she's clean.
All right. Just making sure. I don't want my sister to be an asshole.
I don't know. Like, it seems kind of rude to not want to introduce someone who wants to meet somebody.
Seems like in this world you can walk up on anybody you want to and say, "Hey, I'm Gabe. I'm this person's sister. Nice to meet you." It's a grocery store, so it's wide ass open.
So
We
you're
did kind of cause
saying
a scene with the arguing.
his sister's under no obligation to wingman him?
Correct.
Or wing woman, I guess, in this case?
Wing person, and no, she is not under any obligation.
Why is it wing man when it's men, but it's wing person when it's women?
It's wing person in general at this point. We ain't wing manning no more. We wing peopling. That's what we do.
I do feel bad in retrospect with the argument. I did pull the whole "I'm your big brother. After all I've done for you, you can't do me this favor" line. But again, this is all intoxicated.
Yet you didn't get what you want, so your put down had no power. She subconsciously beat you into submission 23 years ago, and you're just now realizing it.
Well, it was my friend who drove, who's like, "All right, we're making a scene. Let's get going."
At least, like, this story didn't talk with you trying to kidnap somebody.
I do have my lines. I do have my limits.
Be like, could you imagine if there were no police around? I could kidnap you. Who would stop me?
It's always the good callback that you go, "Mwah, there you go." That's why you're here, people. It's the callback. Makes every joke worth it. I am astounded by this story. I don't know why I am, but sometimes, Gabriel, you can still surprise the shit out of me. And success. You've done.
I try my best.
You've done it in this situation.
Well, the thing about, like, people like Gabe and I is we think everything's funny until the pain hits. Not the pain in us, but the pain for the other person. And then our conscience kicks in, and we're like, ooh, shouldn't have went that far.
Yeah. That could have been. I'm not proud of that.
I literally, like, I'll sit in meetings at work, and someone will say something, like, idiotic, or, like, they'll say something that I don't agree with, and my mind will start churning sarcastic answers to try and, like, tear them down or make them feel like what they said was stupid, because that happens when they irritate me. I'll preface it with that. But I'm trying to get better about not doing that. But I literally sat there the other day for like 4 minutes trying to come up with an email response to something that irritated me before I finally just convinced myself to let it go. Because I realized I was getting too close to that line.
That is a course that comes with age, because sometimes I'll type some shit and I'll be like, no, I'm gonna backspace on all of this, or just select all and delete. You know what I'm saying? That is that indeed comes with age. You just see the effects of it down the line. It's like you're like, this is what could happen. I don't want that. So
that's why any successful relationship, I feel like, would have to be with someone who's very open to understanding and willing to have dialogue. Because, like, text and emails, shit like that, I'm golden because I have time to think, time to plan. But in the moment, I'm liable to say some shit that's going to piss somebody off, and then I'm going to have to pay for it later, and I know it.
Oh, man.
So you're really going to have to like me.
Because I might come out the mouth and say some wild shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. As always, I have a sampling of Am I the Assholes that my partner Vanessa finds for me. She finds them for me on the day of the show. I have not read them beforehand. These are all new to me, too. Let's run through. I'm going to read you the Am I the Assholes, so you'll decide which one you want to hear. Am I the asshole for showing my boyfriend how disturbing it is to have him yelling at video games all the time by calling my friends up and having a joking scream? Am I the asshole for telling my child's teacher to fuck off and pulling her out? Am I the asshole for sleeping in my roommate's bed for a week after my boyfriend puked red wine all over mine? Am I the asshole for mansplaining my date's disability?
That one seems like the winner. The other ones didn't quite speak to me, you know?
Man. Am I the asshole for mansplaining my date's disability? At the beginning of lockdown, I was bored and on Tinder, not unusual, and met this woman called Laura. We began talking and agreed that we should meet up once restrictions had lifted. She, very early into talking, warned me that she was severely deaf. But I've met deaf people before, so it didn't bother me. She came over to my apartment, and we at the beginning really got on. She didn't look exactly like her pictures, but I thought it wouldn't hurt getting to know her a little bit. A few minutes after we got situated and comfortable with each other, I asked her some questions about herself, which she didn't answer as she said they were too personal. She then made a comment about her deafness, so I took that as an opportunity to tell her what I knew and ask her if she'd ever considered a cochlear implant and such. She rudely interrupted me and told me I was getting some of my facts wrong, and when I asked her how she became deaf, she said it was meningitis, which I was unaware could cause deafness. So in that moment, I laughed and said that wasn't true. She left half an hour after getting to my place and said I wasn't listening to her, nor was I getting my facts right. I got quite irritated by this as I thought it was quite rude, so told her I'd walk her back to hers, to which she refused, saying it was fine. I checked my phone later that evening and she sent me a long text before blocking me on everything, basically saying I'm a massive ass. When I've told my friends about the date, they've all said that too. Am I the asshole? There are 864 comments on this. This one has not been decided if he is the asshole or not. Usually they will mark it as such. But let's take a peek at the comments.
Before you read anything, this man feels like something I would have done 10 years ago. I felt a lot of me in that story. Not listening to the other person because I think I know better. Making light of their situation because, you know, laughing, like looking for a joke in any situation, even though that might not be appropriate. Then being unwilling to find fault in my own actions right away.
Okay. Well, first comment here, and I don't know if these are sorted. These are sorted by top comments. So this is the top comment. And that comment is, you're the asshole. You asked a deaf person how she became deaf, then laughed at her and called her a liar because of your own lack of knowledge about the situation. The correct response would have been, oh, I didn't know meningitis could cause deafness, not, ha ha, no, you're wrong about the cause of your own disability. Next comment. I'm also amazed someone who claims to have any knowledge of deafness doesn't know meningitis can cause it. Like, it's fairly well known, at least where I'm from it is. That's another guy's comment. Let's see. You'd think he would have Googled it before accusing her of lying. Here's one response. Let's see. Also, a cochlear implant has been a topic of contention in the deaf community, which I've heard about because some deaf people aren't like, they're not upset that they're deaf. They don't think of it as a problem. You know what I'm saying? They are simply like, I'm deaf and it just is what it is and I know how to communicate otherwise. And so trying to tell me, don't you want to get a cochlear implant so you can hear? Don't you want to hear? Is on some old wild shit.
How will they ever know if Let Me Smell Your Dick is a good song or not?
The title says it all.
You can just read the lyrics, you know. They're right there. It's okay, bro. You'll know.
Yeah, it's a banger. Going double uranium.
Let's see. Anybody else's comment that I think is basically, most of these people are saying you're an asshole. I came in here to say this. Yikes. Oh, this is, and I don't know what the this is. Yikes. For someone who is comfortable, through quotes around it, comfortable around deafness, you sure don't know very much about deaf culture. The whole conversation could have been phrased in a way to ask and learn from an actual deaf person, instead of you just telling her what you know. Not surprised she left. You're the asshole. So,
Well, at the risk of calling Lunch from 10 years ago an asshole.
Oh, I was. Feel free.
I gotta call this guy, not a malicious asshole, more like a negligent asshole.
negligent asshole is appropriate terming for this situation.
Because, he just wasn't with malice or forethought. It was with just being reckless and, not knowing better. He could have handled the situation better. He could have, like I said, if a deaf person tells me how they got deaf, I'm gonna assume they're telling the truth.
I don't know what they can say to make me say that's not how that happened. I was struck by Superman at high speed, I guess. I don't know. But, not going to be a lot that's going to make me say that didn't happen. Because that's insane. That's an insane thing to say to someone. I want to read this, Am I the asshole for sleeping in my roommate's bed for a week after my boyfriend puked red wine all over mine? Am I the asshole for sleeping in my roommate's bed for a week after my boyfriend puked red wine all over mine? My roommate and I, both 20 female, don't know each other that well. That's already a motherfucking problem. We have mutual friends who both knew we needed roommates at the beginning of the year. So set us up. We're not in the apartment at the same time very often. So I wouldn't say we're friends, but we don't dislike each other. At the beginning of last week, my roommate told me she was going to go back to her hometown about 2 hours away because her dad was sick and she wanted to be with family. I said, okay, see you when you're back, the usual. That night, I invited my boyfriend over and we ended up getting a bit drunk, which resulted in him puking red wine all over my bed. It was like 3 a.m. at this point, and I was tipsy, so I dragged him over to my roommate's bed and we both fell asleep. The next morning, my boyfriend went home, but I was hungover and didn't want to wash my sheets yet, so I stayed in my roommate's bed. I ended up sleeping and staying in my roommate's bed for the rest of the week. She came back to the apartment on Monday whilst I was out shopping, and I came back to her questioning as to why there was a phone charger on her bed. I told her that I'd been sleeping in her bed because of the red wine puke, expecting her to find it amusing. But she was absolutely disgusted and called me a slob because I didn't wash my sheets. Then she demanded I change her sheets because my boyfriend and I had both slept on them, and I refused, saying they were hers so she should clean them. Now she's saying that I crossed the line and that she's going to start looking for a new roommate. Am I the asshole?
Yes, I'm going to say yes on this one.
Yeah, I agree. You're an asshole and you're gross. Lazy as well, yeah.
I can understand. Look, I've been hungover. I didn't feel like doing shit.
Yeah, but for a week?
A week is a long-ass time, yes.
Like, I don't even really like sleeping in, like, hotel beds traveling. So it's like, to know that if, like, I just sucked it up, because at this point, her roommate's like 20 or 21, it said, which I would assume she's about the same age, which means you're an adult. You're capable of going and renting a shop vac and cleaning up your bed like an adult and going back to your own fucking bed. For you to, like, think that it's cool for you to just invade someone else's space for a week and then not have the decency to wash the items that you use of theirs without permission, yeah, you're 100% the asshole.
Top response is, you're the asshole. Changing her sheets would have been the least you should do. I'd be demanding you vacuum my mattress as well. And it's pretty disgusting not washing the puke on your sheets either. If you and your boyfriend can't handle alcohol or the aftermath, maybe don't drink.
That's a little Mormon-y and judgmental.
She left puke-covered sheets for a week? Like, there's general laziness, and then there's this. I'll be looking for a new roommate, too. This is so gross and invasive of the roommate's privacy. I don't know why I said privacy and not privacy, but there you go. I got British on that ass.
I wonder if this is like an apartment with 2 separate bedrooms, or if this is like a college dorm where there are 2 beds that are across the room from each other. Because that would mean that room smelled like wine puke for that whole week.
Yeah, it seemed to be that she said she went to the room, so I'm going to assume there's 2 separate rooms.
Oh, yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah, because she just left wine puke baking in her room for... Oh, good God.
Why does she think that'd be an amusing story? Oh, funny story. I slept in your bed because I didn't feel like cleaning up puke for a whole week. Isn't that hilarious?
I've seen cleaner crack houses. Usually they are so high they freak out and start cleaning it with water. Oh my God. I actually had a crackhead roommate before. She was cleaner than this, is what this person says. This person responds,
Wait,
my old crackhead roommate would be sweeping the floor with cigarettes in her mouth, dropping asses behind her, LOL. But at least she tried. I'll just add here that when I was in the hospital, there was a leak in one room, so the girl, for whatever reason, went to lay in my bed while they cleaned up. I couldn't even sit on my bed until they changed the sheets. Because, you know what I'm saying, like Box said, he's, I'm saying, a little bit like, no thank you. So, yeah, that person is clearly the asshole. I don't understand why they would even ask the internet for a response on this, because cheese and rice, you're just an awful person.
Alright, also, if you're not in college anymore, don't live with someone you hardly know.
You know what? I don't know. Like, in the San Francisco's, New York's, LA's of the world, it is tough to find affordable housing. True. And so sometimes you just are, it is what it is. So I
Before we move on from this story...
That was the premise of Sherlock.
Before we move on from the story, what about the boyfriend in all this? He didn't make any attempt to help clean up?
Yeah, also...
And then is he not going to not judge this woman for being gross?
Also a trash heap of a human being.
I mean, like, it sounds like he's probably getting laid, so that's why he's just like, whatever. But, like, in a couple of years, he's probably going to look at this like, not the cleanliness of partners.
Red flags, just a beeping. I'm saying the entire time, like, oh shit.
Well, they're a mess, but they could be a mess together.
Oh, no.
So they're compatible.
No, I'm okay with that. Yeah, that's where we're going to go ahead and stick a fork in this particular exercise this week, people.
Man, we didn't disagree on any. That's not fun.
Hey, who knew that these motherfuckers would be so terrible? But let's get our housekeeping out of the way. I realize you hear a good chunk of this at the beginning of the show, but I like to repeat it. Just you might be one of people like me. I skip past the intros of a lot of podcasts I listen to because I'm like, I've heard this song so many times for so long. I'm not to be bothered with. So you might be skipping the intro and not getting this information, and thusly I'm going to share it with you a second time. Please rate, review, subscribe, and share the show wherever possible. That pretty much means iTunes and Stitcher. Stitcher, a bigger deal than I've been giving it credit for. Owned by, I guess, Scripps Howard now is who owns them or something like that. So that's weird. They're a big fucking honking deal in the podcast streets. So, you know, there you have it. You can, of course, subscribe on any number of platforms. So, hey, if you can, please do. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, our YouTube and Twitch channels, and also follow us on Twitter. I just changed the name of the YouTube channel. It was Skim Pod, but now it just is straight up Stays Crunchy in Milk. Crunchy, of course, being spelled with a K. This week. So if you go looking for it, it is Stays Crunchy in Milk. It is relatively easy to find, and there's plenty of content up there, and it grows as best we can. As we are getting a little more loose with our regulations here, I hope here in the very near future we'll be able to sit down and fill with some more building boxes bar. Maybe we'll just do it on the porch. I gotta get some new chairs anyway. Because you know what I'm saying? You know how we shoot it. The camera just points at us. So we just sit on the porch and get some air. We'll figure it out. Might need mics and stuff, but don't worry, we'll work it out. If you want to support the show financially, however, and have a few bucks to toss our way, you can join our Patreon, where members at the $5 and above tier get extra content each month and early access to new shows. We also have merch available over at TeePublic at tpublic.com/user/stays crunchy in milk, all one word. I am currently a bit unhappy with TeePublic's print quality, at least when it comes to shirts. It might be there's a shirt presser just up the road from me that when Tom is on my side, I actually want to just go sit with them and maybe discuss with them maybe we can do some changes to our logo for print, that might be helpful for our shirt manufacturing going forward. But like I said, I just don't like TeePublic's quality. Also, I don't like the way the shirts smell when they get here. I realize I'm not really selling the brand right now, but what you can get from them that I think is neat is they have mugs and they have notebooks and they have pillows and they have all kinds of things with our branding on it that I think would work well. I'm just oddly enough unhappy with their main thing, which is t-shirts.
I mean, if anything, no one could accuse you of being dishonest.
Hey, I'm just trying to keep it real with you. You know what I'm saying? That's just what we do. Hey, if you feel like it, feel free to give us a call. It's 216-302-8763. That's 216-302-8POD. We would very much love to hear from you. Our missing man, the birthday boy, Tatum 216. Give him some love, please, and thank you. Because, he deserves it. He's an awesome guy. My man to my immediate internet. I mean, I guess your internet, what are you at this point? West of me? South of me? How does this work out mathematically? South, assuredly. South and west of me is Lunchbox 2099.
Yeah, I guess for clarification's sake, I should say that in this episode, yes, I did say multiple times that I don't want to talk to people, but that was meant more for, random bullshit. If people listen to the show and want to talk to us about shit we talked about in the show, I'm fine with that. I'm open to dialogue in that situation.
And those who know. Again, that's one of those situations where, like you just said, people who know. So, and if you didn't know, now you do. Box, hell of a conversationalist, and more than willing to speak to you in certain regards. My man over here kicking it up the road from me a little bit is the real ODP. He is my homeboy. I love him so very much, but even every now and again, he manages to shock the shit out of me and slightly disappoint me.
At least I wasn't drinking red wine when I went in on that escapade.
What if you were like the weird high school wine drinker? That's got to be a thing, right? That's got to be somebody's swag. Like, I'm a drunk, but I like to get drunk off of this $2 chuck, not Natty Light.
That would be like the dude in the movies that everyone always suspected was gay.
Yeah, what's up with that? That's a real weird...
I think it's because they figure most men at that age don't have that type of sophistication in cinema,
Yeah.
Like most high school parties, it's just kids trying to steal natty lights from their dad's garage fridge, They're not trying to, pop a bottle of Pinot Noir or whatever.
Knocking back some pop off.
We were a big fan of Miller High Life.
Yeah, the motherfucking champagne of beers, respect due to it at all times. So
I mean, look at the American Pie movie, right? Their buddy Finch. You spent a good portion of that first movie wondering if that guy was into women or not. And he was the wine drinker type.
Shit, Brick.
I'm not saying that the assumptions are good or that they're right. I'm just saying that's the way that media portrayed that sort of person.
A fair enough understanding of the situation. I am your host. I am the internet's Tayrell 713. Black Lives Matter. I know you know that. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Let's end it on this. There is a 6'5", 330-pound black man who wrestles in WWE. He is a champion on their NXT show, and his finisher is called the Big Bang Catastrophe. I'll let you figure that one out.
Hey, what happened to you?